Well, hello, my dear friends. I am so excited to be here today with you. And we have something that I am excuse me, looking forward to talking about because I know that it's so needed. So today we're going to talk about how to quickly restart your photography business after you're done with all of this lockdown business and can start getting out there. Now, this is a little bit tricky because we need to be aware that we might not be able to do things the same way. In fact, most likely we're going to have to make some changes to our business, and they may be a lot more restrictive starting out versus, as time goes on and we get to move forward a little bit more. I think I can see comments here. Well, hello, look at all you people here. So nice to see you. And so I wanted to walk through that. Normally on Mondays at noon, I do a question of the week from our free Facebook group, which if you're not part of the personal brand photography group, you definitely want to join right there. But we've had a lot of talk about getting restarted and how to do that in a way that both is safe for you, safe for your clients, helps you make some money, but is also sensitive to the fact that there's a lot of businesses out there that are still struggling, and you really don't want to push them off by being too forward and pushy. So first and foremost, I want to let you know that I've created a free guide that you can opt in to download. I'll send it to you via email. And you can get that at personalbrandphotography.com/restart. So if somebody could type that right now, that would be really great. So you can, if you're watching this, you should be able to just click this. It should pop up for you. But I'm going to kind of talk big picture today. This is going to have all the specific details. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. I'll put that back on the screen in a little bit. But basically, there's two phases that we need to go through in order to restart our businesses responsibly and effectively. So first and foremost, we need to figure out what guidelines we are going to have to put in place in order to start working again to provide safety for us, especially if you've got health concerns. Is there anyone here, by the way, who has health concerns? Even if you're watching the replay, just, throw a hashtag replay down first, but I guess you don't even need to do that. But it's cool. I like to come back and see my replay people. But is there anyone here who has any health concerns? If you do, I'd love to hear them in the comments. But even if you don't, you need to be thinking about how you can protect yourself, but also your clients from potentially, getting the virus, which crazy stuff that we need to be thinking about this. So in that free guide that I created, I actually have, and you can get that right here. I actually have a whole list of different things you might want to consider. And in part, you're going to need to figure out what the restrictions are and what the recommendations are for your specific location. Now, the Professional Photographers of America, PPA, also has put out their own guide with recommendations on what they think the photography industry should be doing in terms of adopting guidelines. And so there is a link to that in this guide as well. So you don't have to go looking for it yourself. It's right there. But I've also put several ideas out for you. Now you're going to have to decide which ones you're going to adopt, and you're going to have to decide which ones are, not a good fit for you. And, there's some balance there, because if you make it crazy, crazy, crazy strict, like if you don't want to work with clients who haven't still continued to isolate and may have been out in public without a mask or something, that may cut down on some of your business, but at the same time, you don't want to be unsafe. And if you want your clients to follow a certain protocol or certain guidelines in order to work with you, you absolutely should do that to feel safe and to know that you are protecting yourself and your other clients. Because honestly, safety should be our main concern in all of this. So you kind of have to weigh everything. It's hard. I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do, because I think that that's a conversation that you need to have based on your local guidance, based on what your legal people tell you should and shouldn't do. But I'm telling you, we need to think about it. That's the important part. And we need to make a decision on what new guidelines we're going to adopt. And we're going to need to communicate those to our clients to help them feel safe working with us. Because the last thing we want them to do is be worried that working with us is going to cause them a lot of additional risk. Okay? Now, you're also going to want to have a liability waiver in place or an updated liability clause in your contract that covers any risk of somebody getting the illness and coming back to you and saying they think it came from the time that they were working with you and basically suing you or, holding you responsible for it. So in the personal brand photography contract that I had written by intellectual property lawyer Bobby Klink that I sell at, I think, let me grab the link for that. I have that too. I sell that on my website as well here, personalbrandcontract.com. I just got updated language to include liability, like to basically cover your liability on that. So if you already own this contract, I will be sending out an updated clause to all of you probably later today or tomorrow sometime. If you don't already have that, you will be able to get that if you want. But you're going to need to you want to make sure you're protected so that people don't come after you. And then you're going to want to be able to communicate all of this to your future clients and any clients that you already may have had sign a contract that didn't include it. So I would strongly consider creating a new guidelines and liability waiver for all current and future clients to sign going forward that you may have to adjust as the restrictions change. So for example, if you have different phases where right now maybe you don't allow them to bring any guests with that aren't in the photos and you're only working with the one client, but in the future you'd have them, you might have to update that. There's actually, you're going to want to have basically, your guidelines, what you're doing as a business to help prevent the spread of risk, what your clients are going to do, and then you're going to want to have that liability that clause, that reminder right there in the waiver for them to sign. Now, I saw a question here. Jacqueline was wondering if the contract was for the U.S. only. The contract will work in any location, no matter where you are, though, in the U.S., Canada. I think I've had somebody from South Africa using this, in Europe, Australia. It doesn't matter. Anywhere you are, you have to have this reviewed by a lawyer who is familiar with your own local laws. Because even within the same state, there may be different laws and regulations that a lawyer can help you know about and can adjust the wording for. But it's just so much faster and easier to start from a template that already has everything in there that you need to consider and have them just modify little things versus starting from scratch and writing from scratch. I know this one took him about 10 hours to write. And normally lawyers cost between $300 and $500 an hour. And I had to pay for reselling rights on top of that, right? And so I paid a lot of money to have this created for you in the hopes that you would be able to take this to a lawyer and have them review it within 30 to 90 minutes, depending on how quickly they do this. So, but I have some great, I want to tell you how you can get the specific clause for that you can add to your own contract. So keep listening. That's coming. I'll tell you about that at the end. I'm just teasing it up now. I'm not teasing it up now, but you do need to have that in place. So you're definitely going to want to protect yourself because, man, if things are hard for people, I mean, this sounds terrible, but I worked in insurance. That's what I used to do before I was an entrepreneur and worked for myself. And what was the most surprising to me as an actuary was that people in hard places tend to get really nasty and go after others. And often the worst legal cases and the worst battles happen between people who were friends or family, not generally strangers. And so we think that it wouldn't be as bad because, we're just working with people we know or friends or family or whatever. But sadly enough, there's often enough history and other weirdness there that those tend to get out of control even more sometimes than when working with strangers you don't know. Either way, you want to be covered. But when people are in hard places, they often take it out in other ways against other people. It's sad. It's a projection of their own pain. And so we just want to be really careful and we want to be protected so that, because, I mean, let's face it, anybody who goes I mean, anybody on the planet right now is at risk of getting this. And we can't, because there's such a long incubation period, nobody knows exactly where they got it. And so we just want to be able to protect ourselves and let people know that this is a risk they're taking. And that one thing that I think is really unique about the clause that my lawyer wrote that I really appreciate is that it also talks about what to do if you or the client is put in a situation that you're uncomfortable with. So an example of this is if you go out and you're at a local park and all of a sudden a bunch of people show up in a big group without masks and like kind of surround where you're at, and you're suddenly no longer comfortable shooting there because of the risks. Both you and your client have the right to express that and figure out how you're going to handle that, instead of them feeling like they have to stay there even though they're uncomfortable. So they can't come back and say, well, the photographer wouldn't leave, or, whatever. And so anyways, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer, but I have worked with a lawyer to create this. It's fantastic. I do sell the contract templates. I'm going to tell you how you can get just that liability clause if you already have a contract that you use and you only need an updated clause. I'll tell you how you can get that at the end of this. So just hang tight on there. But just know that you need to have new guidelines for you, your business. You need to have guidelines for your clients, what you expect them to do to help prevent the risk of spreading this if they're going to work with you. And then you need to have that liability clause updated to make sure that it covers illness as well as injury and all the other stuff that contracts usually cover. Okay, so now once you have that stuff in place, nobody wants to do that stuff. That's not fun, but that's the reality of where we are today. And honestly, it's going to help your clients feel more comfortable working with you because they know that you're taking this seriously. They know that you've done your research, and they know that you really care about their health and well-being. And so it's a good thing to do, and it does protect you as well. So no one wants to do that, but it's not as bad as you think. And I'm going to tell you how it can be really easy. And then second, you're going to want to start communicating with your clients so that you can start booking sessions again and scheduling the ones that got delayed. So you are going to want to connect with past clients who already booked you but had to push their session off because of this COVID stuff. You're going to want to talk with people who were maybe inquiring who hadn't already booked and they kind of put it on pause because this all got crazy. You don't want to talk to past clients in case they want to get in and work with you, because honestly, demand for personal brand photography is going to increase quickly, really quickly because of this. And here's why. Let me show you. This is a message I got last week from Oscar. He's in one of the entrepreneur groups I'm in. He says, "Hello, Jamie. I need help with some photos. Do you give any of that type of advice or any type advice on that? Please." We are in lockdown, but we still need professional photos to grow our business. It's the first time that we're going to be doing this. Okay. So this whole crazy period where so many people have had their businesses closed, or people have been working jobs and all of a sudden have been laid off, or have had all this time at home, what's happening is that more and more people have moved their businesses online, or they've moved a portion of what they do online. I've seen physical trainers doing training classes online. My kid's karate teacher has been teaching karate classes via Zoom. I've seen yoga instructors doing that as well. Even our music teachers, like violin, guitar for my kids, they've been doing all of that via Zoom. Teachers have been teaching online. And here's the thing. All of these people who have things that they could teach that never considered teaching online are suddenly saying, oh, this wasn't as hard as I thought. We could totally do this. Like, why would a karate teacher teach only 8 students in a class when they could be teaching 80 students virtually, right? Or something along those lines. And teachers who maybe have some other hobby or thing that they've wanted to do, but weren't sure how it would work online, suddenly see how easy it is to get online and to teach online, and are going to be starting online businesses. Like, I know that's going to be happening. I've seen it happen already. And so this is great for you and me as personal brand photographers, because there are a lot of people who need us. And so we want to communicate with our past clients and let them know, hey, we expect demand to be going up. There is a need for this. And so we know you might be struggling right now, but we wanted to give you the first chance at coming back and working with us before things get crazy. And so you definitely want to communicate with them. I've actually written a bunch of emails that you can use to communicate with clients. And I basically made this into a bonus package. So I've got this free, this is totally free. It's 10 steps to basically restarting your business. It's going to walk you through the process of how do you set your guidelines, all the things you need to be considering for your business, for your clients, all those things you need to do, where you need to put it. Then I also have the second phase of communicating. Who do you need to communicate? What things do you need to be offering them? I also really honestly believe this would be a great time to offer some sort of promotion for clients that have been hurt by COVID or who have really struggled through this time. You do a limited number of them. It's going to help you because it's going to start bringing some money in the door right away. But it's also going to help the people who are really struggling but need us most, right? And so in this case, I'm not asking you to shoot for free. I really believe that we all need to step up and support each other. And that means spending money with each other. If more people are spending money, more people are able to get their businesses back up and going. There is money out there. I'm seeing so many people thriving during this, which I know is hard to believe if you've only worked with brick and mortar, or if you're a photographer who lost, basically all of their bookings. If you're a wedding photographer, man, it is a hard year for you because your bookings have been not only postponed for, a few months, but they may have been postponed for most of the year with lots of places restricting the size of weddings that can even happen. I know a lot of brides who have been pushing their weddings out for an entire year or more because they really want to have all of their friends and family at the wedding as they originally were dreaming and planning of, right? So it's been hard. So we need money coming in the door, but we can still be sensitive to people who are also struggling by offering a limited number of sessions to people who need it, right? And we can just, I've put all the information about that in this guide, which is right here. This one is free. This is totally free. But I think it's a great way for you to get started again. I think it's a great way to help people who are in need really sensitively. And, our goal is to get our businesses back up and running. And people want to support other business owners. They don't want the economy to collapse, right? It's not good for anyone if that happens. And so definitely get this free guide. Once you sign up for this free guide, here's the kind of bonus thing that I was kind of hinting to. I've created an extra bonus that goes with it that's not free, that you can choose to purchase if you'd like to. And I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I have included the contract clause, the individual clause that comes straight out of the contract that intellectual property lawyer Bobby Klink wrote. You will need to have it reviewed by a lawyer, but it's there. It's got the liability waiver template. And so now this isn't like the graphic design. This is just the text. So you can take it and put it on your own branding. So it's not like graphic design templates. It's literally the words, which is the hardest part anyways, right? It's, what to say on this new liability, basically it's a guidelines and liability waiver that you should have your client sign. So it's got the guidelines of what you're going to do, the guidelines of what they're going to do, and then this new liability waiver that they're agreeing to follow when they work with you. So there's that in there. I've also got email templates. I think I've got 4 or 5 different email templates in there. Ones that you can use to go back to the clients who have booked that either had to delay or who canceled their sessions to get them to reschedule their sessions with you. It's got an email in there for past clients who haven't worked with you in a while, who might want to start working with you. It's got the wording for this promo and exactly what I would offer in it, how to do it well, what to say to get bookings through it. It's got an email for clients who had inquired with you before this started, but they kind of fell through the cracks when everything fell apart. And, it just all got crazy, right? It's got all of this stuff written out for you, ready to use. And I know there are other people in our industry selling liability waivers alone, which is just one little chunk of that for $99. And I can't do that with good conscience. I know that so many photographers have been hit really hard. There's one group that hasn't been hit as hard. I'll tell you about them in a minute. But most photographers have been hit really hard. So I wanted to make it a no-brainer. And that bundle, that bonus bundle that goes with the free guide is only $10. $10. So you can get that contract clause that you need. You can get the liability waiver template and guideline template, plus all of those emails. I just ask that you don't share that with other photographers and ask them to buy their own copy if they are going to need this. And obviously you need to consult a lawyer before you use any of it. I'm not a lawyer. Yes, it was written by a lawyer, but things in your area might be different than in my area. So if you want to get all of this, you can go here when you opt in for, this is a free guide. This is totally free. This has got 10 steps for you that's going to walk you through the process in more detail. Like it's going to talk about some of the procedures and things and guidelines you may want to shift in your business. It's got extra links, like it's got a link to the PPA recommended guidelines. It's got all sorts of stuff. Oh, it's got a bonus in there too. I didn't even tell you about that yet. But when you sign up for this, once you've signed up, it'll take you to a page where you can purchase that bonus package if you'd like to for just $10. I don't know how long I'm going to keep this up, but really, I just want it to be a no-brainer. I want everyone to be able to afford it. But I also, here's the honest truth. I want to run ads to get this into as many people's hands as possible. Like I really want to help the photography business come back flourishing. So I'm charging just to basically pay for my ads. My goal is if I can make enough money, so you're basically paying to help get the word out to more photographers. That's literally the goal with this. I know that I could charge so much more for this. In fact, my entire mastermind, they were kind of yelling at me this morning when I was telling them what I was doing. They're like, why are you only charging $10 for this? You could make a ton of money on this. And I'm like, I know, because you need to have this stuff. Photographers need it. And so they would spend the money, but I don't have the heart to do that. Like, I really just want to get this into as many hands as I can. So if you can help spread the word about this, as well as, if you would buy the bundle so I can help continue running some ads to get it out into more people, that would just be absolutely amazing. Now, I promise to tell you there's one extra bonus thing in here, and this is part of the free guide. But what I've noticed over the last 2 months is that there was a small group of photographers who actually didn't struggle nearly as bad as the rest of the photography industry did. Most photographers were absolutely devastated by this. Were you? How did you do? I'd love to know. Go ahead and tell me. But the photographers, the personal brand photographers that had recurring clients, if you don't know what a recurring client is, it's a client that works with you over and over and over again. They sign a contract to work with you every quarter, every month for at least a year or more. Oh, why is this? Do you guys hear that buzzing? That's not good. Is that buzzing for you guys? Oh, this is not good. Let me switch microphones. Sorry. Can you hear me now? All right. I'm not sure why. My other microphone started buzzing. Sorry. So we're going back to my computer microphone. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, the photographers who had recurring clients that work with you on an ongoing basis over and over and over again didn't get hit nearly as hard as the photographers who only had one-off clients or were shooting weddings or events or whatever else, because they just had to delay shooting and working with their clients. They didn't actually have to cancel everything and, lose money. And so I really want you to think about how your life and business would change if you had clients that you worked with on an ongoing basis, where you were basically like a team member that helped them get the images they needed for Instagram, for Facebook, for their website, for all the stuff they're doing. And you basically have a contract that says you will do that every month or every quarter. This is what I teach in my story session system. And it is literally the step-by-step process for doing this. And I have a bonus training that I did back in January for some of the people who did the 1K weekend with me. And it's literally about how to convert one-time clients into recurring clients. It's not the full story session system, but it's what you can say and do before, during, and after you have a session with a client to encourage them to become a recurring client. Because I'm so good at messaging. It's one of the things that I'm best at, and I want to help you do that. So in this free guide right here, there is a link to this training that it's 60 minutes long. It's not a bunch of fluffy stuff where it's like, hey, I'm Jamie and here's who I am. And like it's meaty. You're gonna want to bring a notebook because it was a follow-up bonus training for people who did the challenge. It wasn't open to the public. And so you will have to register for it. That's kind of the limitation of the software. I do talk about the story session system there. And I did give the people who did that 1K weekend challenge half off of my story session system for a limited amount of time. And so if you are going through this, because I know so many businesses have got hit hard, if you find the training helpful and you decide that the story session system would be good for you, I'll honor that same discount for you. But it's not, I promise you, this is not just another massive webinar that just sells you their stuff that doesn't give you any real content. This is really fantastic, great tips for helping convert those one-time clients into recurring clients. And you're going to find it super valuable. So just wanted to let you know that's there in case there are any questions. So, all right. So you can get a copy of the guide here. Go get your businesses restarted. I want to hear how it goes for you. Thanks for buying the bonus bundle so I can help get this, the word spread on this more. And if you know anybody who is restarting their business, maybe they're in an area that's opening up now, if you could send them here to get their own copy of the guide as well, that would be super appreciated. I genuinely want to get this into the hands of as many photographers as possible, and I can't do that alone. I need your help. I just want to save the photography industry. I've had a number of friends decide to hang up their cameras and close their doors because of all this. It was just the last straw. And it just breaks my heart that they've had to, they've made the choice to go back to a job they hate and stop doing something they love, when I really believe that if you're offering personal brand photography in your business, we're about to see a big boom in the need for this. And, there is talk about possibly this fall, another surge of this and having to do more isolation. So if I can help more people learn how to bring recurring clients into their business between now and then, I'm hoping it won't hurt the industry quite as bad. Like, I genuinely want to help save our industry. I genuinely want to help photographers like you become profitable and have better cash flow in your business. And so, thanks for helping spread the word. Like I said, send them to personalbrandphotography.com/restart and buy the bundle, buy the bonus bundle on the back end. It's just $10. And spread this video far and wide to help people learn how to get their businesses restarted and making money today. So you guys are wonderful. If you haven't joined our free personal brand photography group yet, let me put that up. You can do that right here. We've got over 10,000 personal brand photographers in the group. So if you want to learn more, you can definitely join the group. Check that out. We also have all sorts of helpful things there. And if you need a full contract for your business for personal brand photography, you can get that here. Although I will say, sign up for the free guide. There is a coupon in that where you can get a discount on it. But it gives you, it's 4 things. It's not just a single contract. It's 2 contracts. One of the contracts is for one-time clients. The other contract is for recurring clients. So you have the language all spelled out for you if somebody says they want to work with you over the next 2 years, every single month. How that works, how payment works, all of it. It's all laid out. So you've got both of those templates, as well as 2 model releases, one for minors and one for adults. So you have everything you need to get going. The commercial use license and all of that stuff is already written into this. There's very little that you will need to customize. The reason I created this was because the contracts that I found on the market and were recommending, I kept having people come back and say, they're too lightweight. I have to write too much of this myself. And so I really worked hard to make it as specific as possible to personal brand photography, so you wouldn't have to try and figure all this stuff out. And it fully aligns with the story session system, which is just a bonus, right? So, all right, my friends, thank you so much. You have a wonderful afternoon. If you need help, that's not the group. I know that was the contract, but here's the group link. Ask your questions here. I want to help you as you're able to start shooting again. I know some of you already have been able to do that. Others of you may not get to for a while, but definitely you can always start figuring out the guidelines and other things now, even if you can't start working with clients until later. So get that guide, join our community, and let's revive this industry and make it happen for you and me. So high five to you. Boom. Have a great day. Bye-bye, my friends.